Hey, welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be our first intro video on Cosmic Ghost Rider, and the guy is outrageous. Yeah, he's got some limitations, but we've done a ton of testing. We did the stream, and I'm here to tell you, you don't need to throw the SP3, at least not in appropriately ranked matchups. It's just not necessary from my experience. Also, triggering decks, it's fine. There's a very small window where you don't want to trigger it. And we'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about what happens if you accidentally trigger it. You can reset his rotation. This guy is configurable to the fight and to the matchup. And of course, we will boost him up with the synergies, good synergies, and take a look at him absolutely obliterating Winter Soldier. All right, let's get to the show. Hey, all right, so we're going to be going over Cosmic Ghost Rider. Most of these fights, in fact, all of them, except for the last one against Winter Shoulder, the only synergy we're really going to be having here is the Punisher 99. And that was just in case I pushed the opponent to an SP3 or to filled their bar. I wanted to be able to handle it. I have a lot of questions to get done, and I just wanted to rip through it. Full disclosure. We are running partial suicides here, no, full suicides, and we have the Nick Fury synergy and a 20% boost that was expiring. I wanted to get through the quest, I wanted to put it on, and I also kind of wanted to get as close as possible to seeing what a rank 3 would be like. Now, as I said, what we're really going to be doing here is we're going to be talking about ways to play him where you don't even go to the SP3, and maybe where you've triggered decks, or maybe that's even part of your strategy. We did a lot of testing. We did the live stream, and a lot of people pitched in. DLL, Duke, Shadow, Z, Joshua, Ivers, Germ, Iron Patriot, and Metal Sonic Dude even stopped by. And I'm sure there was more, and we went over it and over it for probably close to 2 hours in total. We worked on getting 2 Furies, and then we kind of discovered something here. We discovered that there's a point in time where when the judgments fall off, you can just go and re-trigger thing. It makes a lot of sense because we've seen the videos of him with 2 Furies. And maybe some other people have talked about this, and I want to give credit where it's due. You know, it was K21 that first talked to me about being able to throw start it with the SP2, not even having to get to the SP3. So as you can see here, we've triggered 3 of the judgments. I'm probably, if I remember correctly, I'm going to go in and trigger his power gain, which will now be longer than if I had initially triggered it. Yep, see, and now watch how long it's going to stay with us here. And we're going to go in, we have the 5 judgments, so he's power locked. Now we can reset any judgment we want because there are no judgments on Green Goblin, which means, as you see, we just triggered 4 of them. So it does not matter. It does not matter if you have the buff from the judgment. What matters is if the judgment is on the defender. And that's what allows you to double up on a lot of these things. And we're going to see it later where I've triggered dexterity and I have the buff from dexterity, but I don't have the judgment of dexterity because the judgments have expired. I'm then able to parry stun, do the SP2, get that massive, massive buff, and absolutely destroy Winter Soldier. It is absolutely beautiful, and it has opened my eyes. I have to admit, I was very excited about Cosmic Ghost Rider, but I was worried about his lack of utility, and I still don't think he has much of it, but I'm beginning to think there's going to be a lot of fights where it doesn't even matter. So you see we've ended the fight here with a medium, so we've triggered that judgment. We've now thrown our SP2 or SP1, triggering 2 other additional judgments. When we now go in for our power gain buff, it's going to last longer, right? Because they last, I think it's 20% longer each time. So it's going to get us all the way up to our SP2. Remember, we don't have any synergies increasing that length. You see the damage. Now keep in mind, these are very appropriately ranked defenders. This is the event quest. This is the, I think Cavalier is the word for it, is the term they're going with. Cavalier difficulty. So these are beefy defenders. They also have kinetic transfer, and so I wanted to be kind of aware and keep in mind that they would be gaining a lot of power and working against that, right? So there was a little bit of utility that was needed or would have otherwise been required, but the power is so big, and he applies a power lock. And I'm realizing why that's there. It's a really great part of his kit. So again, we've now started the fight. We've triggered three judgments. And we're going to go in, and I know I have a couple examples here of triggering dexterity and what to do, because I was kind of messing around with it. This obviously isn't it. I'm blocking everything. I see why his block proficiency is so good too. This feels like one of those champions that doesn't have that like missing link. There's a lot of champions like this. Like for me, Iron Man Infinity War is a champion where he could be amazing, but there's just this missing thing or something that doesn't make sense. So you see, we've now triggered a judgment. We've got all these armor breaks on, and we're going in, and we're just able to finish him off. I do hope I'm explaining this really well. So what's important here, what I am taking away from this, what I've discovered is, it's not about what buffs are on you so much as it's what judgments you've triggered, and those judgments do fall off once you trigger 5. So we've gone in, we ended the combo with a medium to trigger, I think it's called Vigilance, right? We're going to throw our SP1 here, at least I think we are. What did I do? For some reason I waited. So I've now thrown my SP1, so I've now triggered 3 judgments. Because remember, your special triggers the cruelty. So we've triggered 3. We've now triggered a 4th for the power gain. And if we can parry him and get the heavy going. And remember, he's healing. This is a beefy boy here we're fighting. Now, I've accidentally triggered precision. This is a great example. I've accidentally triggered precision. We are at 5. Now, all 5 judgments have fallen off, and I'm able to immediately trigger the judgment of precision again for the massive, massive damage. And that's what I'm talking about. We're going to see it again in the Iron Patriot fight here. You'll actually see there'll be a small window. Oh, it's the next one. We're gonna beat up on Quake for a little bit. You're going to see there's a very small window where we actually have the 2 precisions, or at least you can see them replace each other. And it's all because of that time when the judgments have fallen off. So I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not saying that, you're just going to start playing him day 1. Maybe you will. It took me about 3-4 hours of playing with him to even kind of realize this. And like I said, a lot of really smart players on that live stream and on the test streams talking about it, going over it, and we kind of almost just stumbled on it. So here we are. There's no judgments, so we're able to start the trigger, the one from the heavy, then the SP2, then the additional one that just comes from throwing a special, and now it just doesn't matter. We end it with a 20k medium attack. This is an R2 unawakened, suicides, and there is a 20% boost. So I think that's important to keep that in mind. But really, how many of these fights would have lasted that much longer without that boost, right? And again, the synergies here aren't buffing his damage in any way, shape, or form. Now, keep in mind, this is a 300k Iron Patriot. You saw that his healing at the end of it's going to be buffed. You're going to see it's 5,000 per tick there. So we're going in. We're going to be, I believe we're going to go initially, we're going to keep the exact same rotation here. We've ended with a medium. We baited the SP1. We're throwing Rs. We've now triggered 3 judgments. You can see them, the passives on the right. I accidentally triggered dexterity. And you can see at this point, the wording's behind. He's at 234,000 health here. Now you're going to see this. Now there's no judgments. We have the buff on us, and we now have 2. And the reason we have 2 is because the judgments were off. Remember, that's what we've been talking about. The judgments are what matters here. That's what's important. If there's no judgments, you can re-trigger the SP2 precision for the massive, massive precision that comes with it. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Point it out to me. Let me know, right? I mean, I'm one person, and you might know that I'm incorrect. I don't think I am. I tested this many, many times. I was able to get the power gain buff going multiple times. But let me know. I think this is a big deal. And maybe someone else is out there saying it. And let's credit them. Let's give them credit, right? Because they've discovered this too. But we're now going to go in and we're going to beat up on Winter Soldier here. I've got him paired with, you saw the synergies, with Mr. Fantastic and Night Thrasher, quality champions. And then the one with Captain America Infinity War, who's obviously incredible, and Thor. You know, that's probably the weakest of the group there, but he's fine. I think it's worth it for this. And this is all increasing his buff duration. So we've gotten to the SP3, we've parried, we triggered the heavy, so now we're gonna get the pretty massive Fury buff here as well. And then watch the way we're able to cycle quickly through and get right back to that SP3 for 2 Fury buffs. So he's got the 5 Judgments on with the power lock. They've fallen off, so we'll be able to trigger our buffs again. Triggered the power gain. Probably didn't have to trigger it first. In hindsight, maybe it would have been better to go with the medium first so the power gain lasts just even a little bit longer. But you see how long the Fury's lasting. Winter Soldier with that passive AI backs off. You remember, we only triggered 2 Judgments, so we still have 3 more that we can trigger before that power lock sets in. Heavy, SP3, and a special. And then watch what happens here. Now, I think that this is great for these bigger matchups and usable for scenarios that might be like this, or just for a great time beating up Winter Soldier or impressing your friends, or maybe making a YouTube video. But the other way, I think when it's an appropriate matchup, potentially in war, I think is how we're often going to see it being utilized and not even having to worry about power back boosts. I'm impressed. I cannot wait to do more, to test more, and have a great time with the guy. He's incredible and he's fun. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, and I hope you're enjoying seeing these huge numbers as much as I am. Oh, wow. It's just fun. We've been waiting a long time for this guy. All right, everyone. Let me know what you think. Let me know. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if you think I'm right. Let me know if someone else already said it. Have a great one, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
I hope you either learned something, were entertained, or even better, a little bit of both. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on Twitter at VegaGaming583. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.